Hello, welcome to Easy Construction Estimating, and I am Gino Bracciano, and I'm going to give you a step-by-step process of going through the estimating system, and we're going to call this step-by-step number one, and I'll number them every one, so as we move forward, you will be able to pick whichever one you want to listen to. There's going to be many videos. At any rate, here is the icon for starting the program. If you went ahead and used the download that's on the website of easyconstructionestimating.com. So let's start it up. And once we do that, it pops up and I am right here. And of course you have your first introductory screen. And of course, before you go into the program, it is necessary to where you have read the user agreement. And then once you do that, then your OK button here will open up and you can go ahead and go to it. By the way, while I'm here, the relink data is if you put the data file in some place other than the installation, you can still use it. You just have to relink to it right here. This will open up a little process. I'll give you another video on it later. Anyway, when we open it up, and we look at it, here's what the main screen looks like. And you have your bids button, administration, bids read only. Now the bids read only will work for if you want to give the program to office staff so that they can look at the bids, but when they go in with bids read only, they of course cannot edit anything. The bids will be totally safe because they won't be able to do anything with them. So I'll explain all of these as we move forward, but for now let's just go right into the bids because that's what I'm wanting to show you here. And this is what it looks like going in. By the way, if this video is helping you out, please like and subscribe so you don't miss any future guides and you are helping others to also benefit. You can check out the software at easyconstructionestimating.com, but for now, let's continue with this tutorial. And what you have in general is that you have the name of the customer name, the job name. You can give it a job number, whatever you like, the job address, city. I don't have it filled in right here, but of course you can fill it in. Also, I think it's important to understand that what you're looking at on the screen is there's sections to everything. This this section right here, this box here, is really the customer information and the job name. Then you have the job number that you can put in here if you like, and the estimator name, whoever is working here. In this case, let's call it Joe Estimator, is the one doing the work. Then you have over here Google Maps. So I'll get into that after a little bit later. Might even be a different video, but when you want to establish your travel time to a job site, Google Maps comes in very handy, and it really very easily picks up the address that you have here and the address of your office. So it gives you the mileage and all that right away. Now, what you have in the center section here, this is the actual bid area, all in through here. And I'll get into that in a moment. But first, let's look at the numbering system you have down below. You have plans. It says here there's one of two plans. So in this bid, there is two plans. And if you look at them, the plan number one is 2150 house only. This is a copy. And if you go to number two, it says a plan 2150 the garage. So we put in a separate amount for the garage as we did for the house, which you can divide any job up into as many segments as you want, and you can do it room by room if you wanted to. Depends on what the kind of bid is that you're dealing with. Then down below over here we have bids, total number of bids. There is 3 of them in this database. Again, this is a brand new database. Typical like the one that you're going to get. This is what it's going to look like. And everything that's in here right now is just samples. There's nothing here that's real, but samples to help you get oriented with the process. Now, I am a number of things, but A lot of what I did in my big business that I built up to over 700 employees, I did it mainly in concrete. I did general framing, I did other things also, but it's mainly concrete. But I'm also first, before I did anything, I was a electrical contractor. And that's why I chose as a sample here things that have to do with an electrical bid, simply because it's something that is generic and it doesn't have to be electrical. It can be plumbing. You can have you're going to need to build the bid in whatever trade you are in. And whatever trade you're in, you're going to have to put the items that you're going to be putting in your bid one at a time. I want to show you right here. Very first one, though, is called Assembly 15 amp plug. Okay, well, an Assembly 15 amp plug, I put the word assembly in there because it's more than just the plug. It's whatever else I put in there to see what it is. Since assemblies you don't get into a lot. Once you build them, kind of leave them alone. But I'll show you how to get into them. You get into them from the administration button, and you come over here, you see assemblies. Now in assemblies, you see here's your 15 amp plug right here. Well, if you want to see what it is, then you see it's $3.35. If you want to see what it is, just click your little eyeglass icon, and it shows you what's in it. And what you got is you got a plastic single gang box for $1.10. You got a duplex receptacle, $1.25. Wall plates, $1. And if you want to put in some wire, some other stuff to it, you can. But at least this way, when you put in a plug, a 15 amp plug, you can just count the plugs, and you don't have to go in there and put in so many plugs and so many plates and so many boxes. Every plug will be complete, and it'll be complete with that material at $3.35 a piece. So then there's other things that are individual. A three-way switch would be a three-way switch. It's not an assembly. And whatever the items are in your bid, you put all of your items that are going to be taxable in here. If you're buying anything that is non-taxable for any reason, you can put it in here and the tax will not be added to it. Very many items involve using a subcontractor. So with electrical, quite often you have to use a subcontractor to dig out the electrical line that comes from PG&E or the electrical service that goes up to the building. So that quite often is bid by an excavation contractor, and in this case here, he would have given us a price of $300. Now, all of your materials for your entire bid is in these three tabs right here. And again, in the regular materials, you got a choice of individual items, or you can put in assemblies. And the assemblies already showed you how to build them up. Now, the next thing over here would be the labor. The labor also, you put in line items, but you can also bring them in on a crew basis. So if you have first of all, in this case here, I put in travel. Travel we got through the Google Maps. I'll show that to you later. But in electrical, you got rough in and then you got finish. So your two phases of what you're going to do. And I'm putting in here that we're going to do the rough in. We're going to do with 3 employees. They're going to do it all in one day. The average rate is $26.50 an hour. So the total for the rough in is $636. And then on the finish off, we're going to have 8 hours. I'm going to have only 2 guys. We don't need 3 guys. 2 guys at $26.50 on an average. It's going to be $424. So you get your total amount of labor on every tab is right here at the top. So you can see where you are on each one every time. And if you do a little change somewhere and you want to update this, you can hit the refresh data and it'll update it. Now we'll go to the totals. On the totals, it basically brings in everything that you've got on this plan here. And all the taxable items and the tax for the taxable items. Now the tax is figured right here, 8.25%. The overhead percent is such and such. And the profit we're figuring at 12%. There's an adjustment dollar here, and I'll explain that to you in just a little bit. But here you've got all your taxable and the tax. Then you got your non-taxable. Then you have your subs. And then you have your labor. Everything is right here. Then you have your subtotal. And then you have the overhead. Now the overhead is the overhead percentage of 8%. Whatever you figure your overhead is, it'll total all of your different items and then automatically put, in this case, 8% right on top of it. Now, of course, these are generic numbers that are in the background. You can come in here and you can modify them so that they stay changed for all future bids. But this is where it is. It's real easy to get to. So here's all your percentages are there right there. Now, the overhead is hit. Now you get your subtotal cost with the overhead is right here at $4,998. Now that number, we bring it back up here, and now we put in, this is where it all is. It is in the profit. You, first of all, if you are accurate in your materials, and you should be, because materials are really, you just count them. They are what they are. Now, if you're wrong on your count, you'd be making a mistake, but there's no reason to do that. I'm going to show you in another video how I keep track of all my material through the plans by using, I like to use Bluebeam. Bluebeam PDF viewer can measure and count and draw and do all kinds of nice things. And as a matter of fact, nobody gives us blueprints anymore. We always get all of our plans, even now, through PDFs. And with the PDFs, we use a Bluebeam. And again, I'll show you that on a different video. At any rate, over here you have your profit based on your percentage of 12% on this number that you have right here, which is the total cost so far. You put your profit. Now here's where I have a place for the adjustment dollars. I put the adjustment dollars as a separate thing right here, and then it automatically populates right here. The purpose of adjustment dollars is that your standard is your standard. However, some customers will just cost you more money than others. They get in the way, they schedule kind of weird, they complain, they do whatever. And other customers just make jobs easier than normal because they work with you so well. So I put the adjustment dollars in there that when you do your bid correctly, you do that for everybody. But then if you have a really good customer, instead of giving them a positive adjustment dollar, you might give them a minus. You can put in a minus $300, right? Just put a minus. And it'll you got to put it up here. Put a minus, and it will recalculate based. Now it's out of balance because I changed the number. So let's change this back to the regular 3, and it goes back correctly because everything calculates as you move around. So that is the bid for this plan. Now I want to show you when we move over to plan number 2. This is the garage, and it is out of balance with save bid recalculate now. Well, the reason it's out of balance is that your saved bids is a different amount over here because we messed around with the labor a little bit, the material. So to get it, once you've done your work in here and you want to fix it so the proposal is the right price, just check it right here. And all plans have been updated. Okay, now it's done. Now the numbers are the same. Now you got $695 here and you got $695 over here. So it's all correct. Now there's of course more stuff that's available to you, but I'm going to go ahead and terminate on this number 1 step by step, and there'll be more steps. I'll go into the proposals, I'll go into the Google Maps and everything else. But thank you for watching so far for this, and I welcome you on all the other instructional videos that I will be putting up on a regular basis. So have a great day. Thanks for coming by, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.